Jim Stovall and Greg Reed. Passport to Success. Experience next-level living. Have you ever experienced moments in your busy life when you look up and feel a strange sense of detachment, as if you're a spectator watching your own story unfold? The days fold into one another, and while everything seems fine on the surface, there's often a quiet accumulation of overlooked details and missed signals. These are the important clues about your relationships, your career, and your own well-being that get lost in the noise of routine. They sit there in plain sight, waiting for you to notice that the life you're living has drifted from the one you intended. This blink traces one man's dramatic wake-up call to show you a clear path back to a more engaged existence. It offers a practical framework for seeing the world as it truly is, not as you assume it to be. You'll gain a new perspective on setbacks, a method for dissolving self-imposed limitations, a strategy for building a life that reflects real purpose, and emerge with the mental tools to stop coasting and start steering. To understand the true cost of this detachment, we'll begin with a man who might feel uncomfortably familiar. He's the perfect portrait of a comfortable life, and he's about to pay the price for his inattention in a single catastrophic day. His name is Alex, and the story of his quiet collapse begins now. The day the world fell away. Alex represents a state many of us slip into without even realizing it. Comfortable, coasting, and completely blind to the fact that his life is quietly falling apart. His story illustrates the inevitable crash that follows a long period of living on detached autopilot. The unraveling started one morning when Alex woke to find his girlfriend, Katie, packing a suitcase. He was completely stunned when she announced, "I'm leaving you," claiming total ignorance of her unhappiness. Yet clear evidence of her intent had been sitting on their coffee table for a month straight. She'd left the classifieds open, with apartment listings she'd called about clearly circled in red ink. He'd seen the paper every single day, but he'd simply not processed the meaning of what was right in front of him the whole time. That's where the problem started. It turned out his personal blindness was a symptom of a much deeper inattention to his own life. Hours later, the same pattern repeated itself in a professional context. He had an interview for his dream job at a pioneering tech company. Dressed in what he privately called his lucky tie, he sat in the lobby, feeling annoyed when a stranger tried to engage him in small talk. Focused only on his own mental preparation, Alex dismissed the man with a curt response. That same man then stood up and cancelled the interview before it had even started. Here's the thing, though. The man was Tom Benoit, the company's founder. His name and title had been printed in large, bold letters on the lanyard hanging around his neck the entire time. The trifecta of failure was completed when he arrived home. A neighbor asked him if he'd found a new place to live yet, pointing to the large red demolition notices that had been posted for weeks on every door and inside the lift of his own building. He'd walked past them constantly, his eyes somehow glazing over the critical information each time. In the space of a single day, his relationship, his career prospect, and his home were all gone. This total implosion led him to his mentor, Joe, who offered a striking new perspective. When things feel like they're falling apart, they can actually be falling into place. The event that truly turned this personal crisis into a mission took place in a sterile doctor's office, where Alex was diagnosed with a rare retina disease. There was a real possibility he'd be rendered completely and permanently blind within a single year. The irony of the situation was absolute. A man who'd been metaphorically blind to his own life now faced the genuine threat of literal blindness. His diagnosis becomes the catalyst. It provided him with a non-negotiable deadline, forcing him to confront the world he'd failed to see. His new path was born from that crisis, which gave him a passport and a newfound desperate urgency. This was the definitive end of his old life. The travels that followed would teach him how to build a new one, a process that began with learning how to truly engage with the world around him. Stepping into the arena. A stark wake-up call presents you with a fundamental choice. Do you remain a spectator, watching your life happen from the sidelines, or do you finally step into the arena? For Alex, this single decision marked the true beginning of his transformation. His experience revealed that active participation is a complex skill, one that requires a strategy for planned action and the wisdom to find opportunity in unplanned chaos. His first real test came in Spain, where he resolved to run with the bulls. This was his conscious decision to leave the stands and step into the heart of the action. He approached this formidable task with strategic intelligence, seeking out an expert named Francisco who'd mastered the dangerous event. Francisco's contribution went far beyond simple encouragement. He provided a precise, life-saving blueprint. He told Alex exactly where to position himself and explained the key mindset that you run from the bulls, that critical distinction that separates the survivors from the statistics. Armed with this expert counsel, Alex was able to channel his fear into focused energy. He had a transformative and successful experience because his courage was guided by a well-conceived plan. The lesson couldn't be clearer: your boldest actions demand your most thorough preparation. The second test arrived not by choice, but purely by accident. In Amsterdam, a moment of carelessness led Alex to grab the wrong backpack, leaving him completely stranded in a foreign city without a passport, phone, or money. The initial wave of panic was overwhelming, a personal crisis born from a foolish mistake. This chaotic event, surprisingly, became the most pivotal opportunity of his entire set of travels. It forced him to become resourceful and, in doing so, led him to connect with the backpack's owner, Jade. This stranger, discovered only through a moment of personal failure, became his most important guide and companion on the rest of his travels. This experience taught him that our most significant setbacks often contain the very seeds of our most valuable opportunities. These stories offer a practical framework you can use to live a more engaged life. First, for any significant goal you set, you need to find your Francisco, a mentor, a book, or a body of expertise that can provide a strategic map before you act. Courage applied with a good plan leads to success. Second, when you're faced with an unexpected mistake or a setback, you have to train yourself to immediately look for your Jade, the hidden opportunity, the unexpected connection, or the new path that the crisis has just revealed. Perfecting this dance between preparation and adaptation is necessary for dealing with the external world. Alex discovered that even with the best strategies for external events, the most formidable barriers are often the ones we carry within ourselves. Your mind is the real chain. Dealing with the external world is one thing. Confronting the barriers we carry within ourselves is an entirely different challenge. Alex discovered that the most significant obstacles to his progress existed inside his own mind, conditioned by years of past experience. He learned this through a striking metaphor delivered in the most unlikely of places: a German circus. As he stood with Jade in front of the elephant enclosure, he noticed a strange paradox. A baby elephant was restrained by a thick, heavy iron chain anchored firmly to the ground. Next to it stood its mother, a magnificent multi-ton creature of immense strength. Her restraint was a thin piece of twine tied to a small wooden stake that she could have effortlessly ripped from the dirt. Alex was baffled and asked the ringmaster why the huge animal never even tried to break free. The ringmaster explained that when the elephant was small and weak, the iron chain was more than enough to hold her. She tried to break it, failed, and learned from the experience that it was impossible. She was conditioned to believe in her own limits. Now, as an adult with more than enough strength, she never tries to break the simple twine because, in her mind, the chain is still there. This story was a complete epiphany for Alex. He saw himself in the elephant. He came to view his own limitations, his fear of failure, his lack of ambition, as mere pieces of twine. They were mental barriers created by past conditioning that he'd accepted as his permanent reality. He realized he possessed the strength to break free. He just had to stop believing in the strength of the imaginary chain. Grasping this is the first step. The second is learning how to actively break that conditioning. Alex found the answer to this at the Olympic Museum in Switzerland. Surrounded by tributes to the world's greatest athletes, he learned that they focused on becoming faster, higher, and stronger than they were the day before. Their true competition was with their former selves. This provided Alex with a practical method for breaking free from his own twine. Instead of being paralyzed by comparing himself to others, he could focus on small, continuous acts of self-improvement. This is the antidote to the elephant's dilemma. You first have to identify the twine in your own life. What is a core limiting belief you hold about your own capabilities that is based on old, outdated conditioning? Then you can adopt the Olympian's mindset. You reframe your goals to be about your own progress. The aim becomes being better today than you were yesterday. Once you start focusing on this internal competition, the external twine begins to lose its hold. This shift from comparison to self-improvement is fundamental because it lays the groundwork for the most important creative act of all, uncovering the person you were always meant to be. Chipping away the stone. Once you grasp that your limitations are fundamentally self-imposed, the following question naturally arises. What is the actual process for releasing your true potential? The common belief suggests that success is a matter of addition, gathering more skills, more habits, and more accolades. The deep truth Alex learned is that the work is actually a process of subtraction. It involves methodically removing what is non-essential to finally reveal the masterpiece that's already present within. He discovered this particular secret in a small studio in Bellagio, Italy, after meeting the world-renowned sculptor Angelo Russo. Alex watched, completely mesmerized, as the artist applied a chisel to a large, shapeless block of granite. When Alex remarked on his incredible ability to create such beauty from a simple piece of rock, the sculptor became impatient with the observation. The angel, Angelo explained with conviction, was always beautiful. She'd always existed inside the stone. His specific role was to see the angel waiting inside the granite and then methodically remove every single piece of material that wasn't the angel. His work was one of careful removal, not of active creation. Alex immediately realized that our own potential functions in exactly the same way. We're meant to chip away at all the surrounding debris, the persistent fear, the bad habits, the intrusive ego, that keeps our true form hidden from view. This philosophy provides the what, but it still requires a methodology. Alex learned this missing piece in the Himalayas when a wise man instructed him to follow a single winding path to his destination. Alex followed the designated path for miles as it climbed higher and higher until it came to a sudden and surprising end at the edge of a deep gorge. Far below in the valley, he could see the boat that was meant to take him to his flight, but there seemed to be no discernible way to get there. The path had simply stopped. Frustrated and scared, he took one hesitant step to the edge, slipped, and landed with a thud on a small hidden ledge just a few feet below his previous position. From this new vantage point, he looked to his right and saw that the path reappeared, continuing its way down the mountain. This illustrates the very nature of uncovering your own masterpiece. You have to develop a trust in the process, even at moments when the path seems to completely disappear. That one unseen step of faith is frequently what reveals the way forward. Your task, then, is to stop focusing on what you think you need to add to your life to become successful. Instead, you should ask yourself, what debris do I need to remove from my life? What is the stone? A distracting habit, a negative thought pattern, a toxic commitment that I can begin to chisel away this week? Trust that your masterpiece is already within you, patiently waiting to be revealed. The warrior who doesn't fight. The final stage of a path towards strength culminates in grasping its intended purpose, to achieve a life of inner balance, wisdom, and meaningful impact. After learning how to uncover his own potential, Alex's final lessons taught him how to direct that potential. His education began in Korea, where he met a legendary martial arts master. Alex watched in complete awe as the master defeated 6 skilled competitors at once, an absolutely stunning display of physical skill. When Alex later expressed his admiration for the master's destructive capability, the master's reply was solemn. He explained that the highest calling of any warrior is to become strong enough to win any fight, while simultaneously being balanced enough in mind and spirit to never have to fight at all. This completely reframed Alex's entire concept of success. The highest achievement was cultivating an internal state of peace so deep that external conflict became unnecessary. The purpose of this inner peace became crystal clear during a trip to Egypt. While standing in front of the Great Pyramids, Alex felt inspired by the idea of leaving a permanent mark on the earth. Later that evening, after being deeply moved by a concert featuring the three tenors, a new friend offered a key distinction. He suggested that leaving a mark on the soul and spirit of people, as the musicians had done that night, was a far more affecting act. This revealed the true purpose of Alex's newfound strength and balance, to create a positive impact on others. This combination of inner peace and outward purpose is sustained by wisdom. Alex learned this final lesson upon his return to America at Arlington National Cemetery. He spoke with a general who was there to pay respects to his fallen commanding officer. Later, the general urged Alex to visit the Holocaust Memorial Museum. This underscored the absolute need to learn from all of history, personal and societal, triumphant and tragic, to gain the wisdom that prevents future conflict. This, then, is the culmination of the experience. True success is a way of living, built upon three pillars. First, you cultivate the warrior's inner peace, achieving a balance that removes the need for external battles. Second, you direct your energy towards leaving a positive mark on the people around you. Finally, you commit to learning from every experience so that the lessons of the past provide the wisdom for a peaceful and impactful future. In this Blink to Passport to Success by Jim Stovall and Greg Reed, you've learned that becoming blind to your own life leads to inevitable collapse, and that awakening requires both crisis and conscious choice. Alex's journey from unconscious autopilot to engaged living reveals a universal truth. We all carry invisible chains from our past that keep us playing small. His experiences teach us that real growth demands careful planning, alongside the ability to find opportunity in unexpected chaos. Whether seeking wisdom from a Spanish bull runner or discovering hidden paths in the Himalayas, every lesson points to the same conclusion. Success means removing what doesn't belong, like a sculptor revealing the masterpiece already within the stone. The ultimate goal reaches beyond personal achievement to finding inner peace so complete that external battles become unnecessary, while using your strength to leave a lasting mark on the lives of others. True wisdom comes from learning from every experience, ensuring the lessons of the past guide you toward a meaningful future. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. Please take the time to leave us a rating if you can. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.